A transport ship crashes onto a desolate world that's home to nightmarish creatures who fear the light and thrive in darkness. To ensure their survival, they free convicted murderer Richard B. Riddick, a criminal who can see in the dark. Monsters are everywhere, and time is of the essence in the 2000 action sci-fi thriller Pitch Black. I'm Connor Eyzaguirre.
Caleb Leger.
And this is Filmgazm. Happy Wednesday and welcome to another Filmgazm podcast episode. I believe 153. God damn, we've done a lot of these. We're starting a new cycle of film picks with all four members of the team getting one pick per cycle, with the fifth being a random pick from the book of Filmgazm. Cycles of 5, easy to remember. Today we're starting with Caleb's pick, which is Pitch Black. But first, I've got one update on the rewind. Today's update takes us back to our episode on Gremlins from 2019. Long time ago. I remember we had a scare because my computer updated while the episode was downloading, and I thought, oh shit, we just lost a whole fucking episode. But nope, Audacity saved it, and the rest is history. So I'll always remember Gremlins. Scared the fuck out of me. Not a big fan of the film, admittedly. I like Gremlins 2 better.
I love Gremlins. I like both movies.
No, I know. I thought Small Soldiers was better, personally. But I grew up with that.
Different movies, but got it.
It's basically Gremlins meets Toy Story. I mean, it's the same. It's Joe Dante. It's the same filmmaker. Like, it's Gremlins 3, essentially.
But it's not.
To me, it is. So fuck it. So HBO Max is releasing a new animated Gremlins series called Gremlins Secrets of the Mogwai. It'll be a prequel telling the story of how the Chinese man from the first film first encountered Gizmo the Mogwai. It'll air on Cartoon Network, HBO Max later this year. Yeah, I'm probably not going to watch it, but good for them.
Yeah, I mean, they're keeping the brand alive for a new generation, so I probably won't rush to see it, especially since I know it's going to be on Cartoon Network, so it's going to be more geared towards kids anyway. I don't have children, so I don't have a reason to really watch it.
I feel like Gremlins has always kind of been thought of as like a sort of kids movie, but you watch it and there's a lot of grisly shit in Gremlins that kids probably shouldn't be seeing.
80s did not care at all.
They really didn't. Like a PG 80s movie is a nightmare. It's really crazy. I mean, just look at I think it's Gremlins and Temple of Doom that made people think like we need a bridge between PG and R because this is crazy.
Yeah, I think it was like I think even Poltergeist pushed the buttons on that one too. People were like, "Dear God!"
Just look at fucking Jaws. That's PG, and you've got so much death and blood and nudity and just all over. What did Jaws have to do to get an R rating? Like show the shark beating off? Like what did you need?
I mean, look, there's probably a point where the shark does beat off. That exists.
Yeah, probably. Do we need it? Kind of. So, Gremlins show. I wonder what's taken. Like, why have we not gotten a Gremlins 3? Like after 1990, I know Gremlins 2 wasn't hugely successful, but it's a cult favorite now. Like, why hasn't someone tried this?
I don't know. I know Blaze Custom, there's been like on and off starts to a Gremlins 3. I don't think Joe Dante is really as into it anymore. I think there was a period where he was actually really into the idea of doing it.
Yeah.
But not necessarily anymore. I know the main actor is the one that keeps bringing it up. Like, he's really game to come back for a third movie.
Well, yeah, I mean, not to be insensitive, but like, what else has he got going on?
But I don't know. It's just like it hasn't happened, and I guess this is technically what we got out of it was, well, we're not getting Gremlins 3, but we're getting this animated show.
Great, we're getting the Gremlins equivalent of fucking Ewok Adventures. I feel like the Gremlins fans are going to give a shit about this. Like, yeah, on Cartoon Network right after fucking Baby Shark. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll probably get a remake of Gremlins before we ever get a Gremlins 3.
Yeah, just a CGI gremlin fest that has no heart and soul. I mean, even though I'm not that big on the first film, I do recognize its cultural significance and the many fans it has because of its practical effects and neat Christmas story. I get that. Just didn't do it for me personally. So I don't hate on Gremlins, just not my movie. Which is actually pretty good segue into this film. So
for that movie, but
so Caleb, why did you choose Pitch Black for your first pick on this new cycle we're doing?
Personally, I picked it because I like this movie a lot. Actually, so back in the Blockbuster days, I was hanging out with a buddy of mine, and we had gotten the okay to go to Blockbuster and rent a movie. And we spent forever looking for a movie because he kept coming up to me going, "Hey, have you seen this?" And I was like, "Yeah, I've seen it." Which was the worst thing to ever do if you're trying to rent a movie with me. It's like, well, especially at that time, it's like, I've probably seen it. So stop asking me. I'll just watch it if I like it enough again. And finally, I guess he got fed up and he grabbed Pitch Black and just went, "Who knows Vin Diesel?" Because yeah, remember, this was like well before Fast and Furious was like this big, huge fucking phenomenon. I think there was just a one Triple X movie, The Pacifier Man, had just come out. Like, this was well before all this shit. And it was just like, "Oh, hey, have you seen this Vin Diesel movie?" I was like, "No, but I've heard about it." And so we rented it and watched it at his place, and I fell in love with it. And I still love it to this day. It's hands down one of my favorite movies.
That's nice. That's nice. This was my second time watching it. The first time was way back in the early days of the podcast. I mean, of the website, when we were just kind of trying to build a canon of reviews. And Pitch Black, actually the whole Riddick trilogy, you brought over to my place and we watched. And admittedly, I, at the time, was fairly dishonest about my thoughts. And I apologize for that. Yeah, I said it. I gave the film a pretty glowing review. And in truth, I was more like, this is kind of shit, but he really likes this and I don't want to hurt his feelings. So, mea culpa.
Not forgiven at this moment.
Yeah, I know. We've been talking about this for a long time. This is a black mark. This is a knife in the back.
Big old knife. Had you just been honest with me, I would have been a little sad, but moved on.
Well, but hopefully, since I have been honest, you can be a little sad and move on.
No. Especially after you sent a glowing review, because I thought, well, maybe he'll just like think it's okay.
All right. So my review, this was back in 2014, where our reviews, like we were just figuring this shit out. We didn't know how long a film review had to be. We didn't do any research or anything. We were just like, fuck it, let's write 2 sentences on this and move on. And my review is a paragraph. I gave the film an 8. Here is the paragraph. Pitch Black was an epic, simple action sci-fi flick that showed the world just how much ass Vin Diesel could kick. The answer is a lot. Yeah, I haven't always been the enthralling writer I am today. This film delivered much more than I anticipated, providing an exciting and thrilling viewing experience. It did an excellent job of merging the creature aspect of horror with the psychological side of the same genre. I still agree with that part. The effects do not look dated and continue to thrill viewers like myself to this day. About 20% of that is accurate. I gave the film an 8. Is not my same score today. So it's not the only time I've done this. I will not do it again. Promise. I might do it to Josh a couple times, but I won't do it to you.
Oh, damn it. So if you look below that review, you have mine and it hasn't changed. And it's a really high score.
Yeah, it is. Obviously, this is a 10 for you. And it always sucks when a friend does not respect the 10. So yeah, this is not the first time we're gonna have this kind of seething animosity in one of these episodes.
True, but at least other franchises you've come forward about and I've been able to process, so you've been honest with me about from the beginning.
It's true. Of course, I haven't been thinking about Pitch Black for 7 years, but you clearly have.
Because I love this movie.
Oh boy. So Pitch Black was directed by David Twohy, who would also direct the 2 sequels. He also directed A Perfect Getaway and wrote Critters 2, Warlock, Waterworld, G.I. Jane, and The Fucking Fugitive.
I didn't realize he was an accomplished writer here.
Yeah, he did like the Riddick movies, A Perfect Getaway as a director, and then his writing resume is all over the map. But The Fugitive, I watched that just on a whim a few weeks ago. Fucking great movie. And I just didn't see any of that tension in the characters of Pitch Black, which is unfortunate.
It's because this is a different movie.
Yeah, but if you can write tension in one world, you should be able to write interesting characters and tension in another world.
There was interesting characters and tension in this one.
No, not really. They got like just kind of stereotypes, really. You got the dick, you got the criminal, you got the captain with a chip on her shoulder, you've got the Muslim guy, you've got the girl.
Sci-fi films, have you watched this cast of characters?
Various tropes, a few. I think David Twohy could have done better. There
I
it
think
is.
he did just fine with this.
Good for you. I don't. Action superstar Vin Diesel plays Richard B. Riddick, convicted murderer and war criminal. Dick Riddick, Richard Bruno Riddick.
Is that really what it is?
Yes.
I didn't even know that because I never bothered to look it up.
His fucking middle name is Bruno.
They could have just left the B. They could have left that one alone.
Oh, this Diesel became a star thanks to his role as ultimate family man Dominic Toretto in the Fast and Furious franchise. He voices Groot in the Guardians of the Galaxy films. He's also appeared in The Iron Giant, Triple X, The Last Witch Hunter, and Bloodshot. He's the man of many franchises, constantly trying to get another one off the ground.
Yes, except the one that people want, he doesn't seem to be ever interested in doing again.
Yep.
Which is the one I'm talking about, and it's really annoying.
I will always think that like the stars became perfectly aligned, that a guy with the name Vin Diesel became the face of a franchise about cars. I mean, does it get more perfect than that? It really doesn't.
I mean, it worked out, yeah, but I want that fourth fucking Riddick movie. God damn it!
Yeah, Furia, which has been in almost development for quite a long time, will probably never be made as long as Vin is making those dollar signs off the Fast and Furious franchise. Which
I don't. Yeah. I'll say I've never understood, because most actors are able to do other films outside of their franchises.
Yeah.
He only has Fast and Furious because all his other franchises he never gets off the ground. And then he did do that new Triple X that was a big hit. Said a sequel was coming out of it and had heard nothing since.
Well, here's the thing. Vin Diesel is not an actor. Vin Diesel is a movie star. There's a difference. And he goes where the money is. And right now the money is in fast cars and Ludacris in space. So that's what's happening. It's
like he could still make even more money if he did other movies that have been confirmed sequels that we're supposed to be getting. It's not like he's losing anything. He would still get his Fast and Furious money, but then he get his other money from the Star stuff as well. You literally get more money.
True, but why put in the effort when he can make like $900 million off of a production credit, box office points, and mumbling his way through a Fast and Furious movie?
God damn it.
Yeah, I mean it sucks, but that's the reality of it. He doesn't need to try harder. He's doing just fine.
It really bugs me too, because I will defend him in this movie. I think he does really fucking good in this movie.
His best work, in my opinion, has been The Iron Giant.
I haven't thought of The Iron Giant in years, since I saw it as a kid.
Back when Julie was on the team, which I don't think I ever addressed on this podcast. Anyway, we did a test episode on The Iron Giant, and I got to watch that again. And it's a fucking beautiful movie. It makes me cry every time. It's a brilliant kids movie that still holds up. I'd love to go back and do that as a full episode on the show. But yeah, to me, that was, the perfect guy. Vin Diesel is perfect for barely sentient beings like the Iron Giant and Groot. Because I think he's barely sentient himself.
He's just
like a fucking rock came to life and called itself Vin Diesel. I don't have a lot of respect for this fan, in case you're figuring that out.
I kind of figured, but I will at least defend him in Pitch Black. I actually think he does do good in Pitch Black, but again, this was like his first film role, major film role. I don't know if he did any other indie stuff before this, but
he had some bit parts. Like he had a uncredited role in Awakenings.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he did a lot of. He was in Saving Private Ryan. He did a bit part in there.
I remember that. Yeah. This was his first his first major like film starring role, and to me, like watching this, especially after seeing these more recent Fast and Furious, there is a difference. Like he seems to really try to give us something with the Riddick character. He seems to really care about this character, and I think it's a great performance. I love him in this role. I think he brings the physicality, the mystique of like, who the fuck is this guy? And just a certain presence to the role that only he can do. I just wish he would apply that to all his other fucking movies.
Yeah, I think we all do. I think it's why we all love Dwayne Johnson so much, because he's like the next logical step. Like if this was Pokemon, Vin Diesel would evolve into Dwayne Johnson. Like, I think that makes sense. Or like there's Jason Statham's in the middle there, and then it's Dwayne Johnson.
I'll say you gotta give Sam some credit. He's done some mainstream stuff to show that he can hang. Like
he can hang. He can act. He makes me laugh. He's a badass. I have much respect for Jason Statham.
That's why I say, like, if he would just give us more Riddick, I could. And Fast Furious wasn't where is that. I actually would agree that Vin Diesel's a badass because of the Riddick character, but just because of how he's been acting in public sometimes, like that stupid shit he said about what he was trying to get out of The Rock in Fast and Furious, and the fact that he's clearly just sleepwalking his way in a lot of these later sequels. It's like, nah, Vin, you're not the badass you used to be. I was like, you bring me, and it's funny too, because I remember when I watched the newest one, the 2013 Riddick, I know you said it's exactly the same, but again, the reason they did that, again, this is why context matters. We talked about this a couple episodes ago, because of the reaction to the sequel, to the Chronicles of Riddick, that, fans and critics were like, holy shit, what is this crap you just hawked down our throats? They were like, we got to go back to basics. We have to go back to what people liked and really strip this down. And then if this does well, we can do that sequel. That was literally, they talked about in interviews. They're like, yes, they even said in interviews, like, it's going to follow the same plot line. Like, but we're doing that. And you said they're like, we're doing it so we can get back to a basics approach. And if people respond to this well, we can go forward. And again, people did. And somehow we have not gotten that fourth fucking movie. But even in that one, I remember thinking, holy shit, where is this Vin Diesel? Because he seemed to actually be back in that character. He was actually trying. I relieved him as Riddick again. It's like, as soon as he gets off of that and he goes back to Fast and Furious, because it's the same thing with the new Triple X movie. When I saw it, I was like, hey, here's a lively, actually, like, looking like he wants to be here, fucking Vin Diesel. When I saw Triple X Return of Xander Cage, it's like the moment he goes to fucking Fast and Furious, he just shuts it off.
Well, I mean, it's like, all right, so say you're a working man and you've got this construction project that is, you can always go back to. It's rewarding, but it's a lot of fucking work. But you know that what you're going to be building is something special that people are going to love. But over here, you've got a cushy office job where you don't need to do dick and you are going to make $1 million a year. Yeah, you're going to keep going there because it's comfy, it's reliable. You don't have to do shit.
Yeah, but at least stop autopiloting your performance in that one. Like, if you can clearly do something that makes me believe your character in your other franchises, give me that in your more recent Fast and Furious sequels.
Did you happen to check out Bloodshot or The Last Witch Hunter?
No, because I saw what they were being, and they were attempts to make new franchises, and I said, nope. I'm very much like, dude, give me your fucking Riddick movie. I don't want any other goddamn franchise out of you.
Here's the thing, though. Like, I feel like the Vin Diesel we've got now is like he's not coming. He's not going back. I think that even if we do get a fourth Riddick movie, it's going to be a Riddick movie where he's sleepwalking through it. It's like going to be when Bruce Willis did Glass, you know?
Yeah, and that's what I'm scared of. It's like, you watch this first movie and you can tell it's a hungry Vin Diesel. It's like someone trying to prove themselves. And it shows in the performance, which I think is, again, it's really fucking good. But now it's just like, and if you read on like how this fourth one's happening, it's like Vin Diesel is daily, playing with his fucking dick somewhere in like Fast 10, the 11th saga, whatever they want to call it. And they would talk too. He's like, I've done with the script. The script is finished. I'm waiting on him.
How about this for Fast 10? Fast 10 your seatbelts. That's the title.
F10, the F saga.
I can guarantee you with that dumbass joke, I've put more thought into that movie than anyone else has. Anyone in production. I love that we can joke about this shit without like really getting pissed off at each other. Because I've had friends in the past who are like, get serious about this shit, and I'm like, whoa, it's a movie. Like, did you write it? No, so fuck off. But we don't have that here, and I like that.
Well, it's like I said, most of my betrayed heart stab in the back, if you will, was because I really thought you actually liked this movie, and then I was like, wait, what?
Yeah,
don't do that.
I feel so bad.
Had you been honest, I would have had my motive like, oh, god damn it. Then I would have moved on, though. I'd been like, whatever.
Well, hopefully, like I said, you can have that moment now, and we can put this fucking irritating nightmare behind us.
Until we do like the 250th episode and you rewatch and also have Awakening like you did with TCM2.
I doubt it, because this was my second watch. I did not have that awakening. If anything, I was like, this is shit.
You're also really deep in your hatred for Vin Diesel, and I do feel like that's clouding some of your judgment.
It's not a hatred. It's a complete lack of respect. There's a difference.
I feel like that's clouding some judgment here.
No, because like I said, I still love the Iron Giant. I think the pacifier is really funny. Which admittedly is kind of weird, I know.
You like the pacifier.
I do like the pacifier is funny. I used to watch it all the time with my cousins when I was a kid, and I thought, the guy from Triple X is doing funny stuff.
Okay, you know what? In all fairness, I remember thinking, oh, cool, he's branching out. And then he didn't. There's a lot of points in his early career where you could tell, like, had he just not taken himself so fucking seriously,
yeah,
he would be a very thriving movie star. He would be a badass, like kick-ass action star, but he takes himself so goddamn seriously.
Yeah, that's why I know he's constantly compared to Dwayne Johnson, but yeah, I think, Dwayne Johnson came about at a time when Vin Diesel would have had those opportunities, but he squandered them by, being too full of himself, taking himself too seriously, and being a little bit of a prick, frankly. Dwayne Johnson was like, hell, I'll do anything. I'll be in a shitty Disney movie about the Tooth Fairy. Why not? I just love being here.
Yeah.
And now we look at him. He's the highest grossing actor in Hollywood. He's got like 6 different franchises. Everyone fucking loves him.
Yeah. So, I will say, like, I do understand where people come from Vin Diesel. That's why when I watch this, I really have to separate it with him. As far as like, okay, at the time this came out, this was a young, though he had it all in his hands, because this didn't do that well, but it became a huge cult hit. A lot of people knew him for this movie to the point that, there was excitement for that sequel at the time when the like Chronicles was coming out. And I do remember like every fucking channel played that goddamn movie. It was like, check out, Chronicles of Riddick for all you guys that like Pitch Black. And it's like, I do remember a time there was like, he had it. He had that. Triple X was a hit. The first Fast and Furious before it became the franchise it is was a hit. Like, he had it, and he just fucking squandered so much of it.
Yeah, but in the end, like I said, now he's making fucking crazy money off percentage points and production credit on Fast and Furious.
And being in the MCU.
Yeah, and those Groot checks. Those Groot checks are nice.
Yeah.
Just go into a booth, say, I am Groot 300 times, walk home with like $200 million.
Even though Sylvester Stallone did a much better job as King Shark, he said more than 3 fucking words the whole time.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah. So Vin Diesel, obviously, with his resume, this won't be the last time he comes up. Like, we'll do more of his movies. I'm sure Chronicles of Riddick will happen in the future.
Yeah, it's technically a good case for our other planned show.
Yeah, we'll be announcing that in the next couple months, by the way. I know we've teased it on all of our fucking shows and have yet to give anybody any clue as to what that is. But trust me, in the next couple months, we're going to be announcing something really fun.
It's like winter is coming. It's coming. It won't be like season 8 of Game of Thrones, I promise.
Now, this is going to be well thought out and planned. So look forward to that.
Yeah. What okay, so I know we've been kind of talking, like, what were your thoughts, at least just this movie, on Vin Diesel? Like, honest opinion. Now that we're being honest, Connor.
All right. Okay. I think there are moments. I think that there is a hint of dedication here, like with some of the stunts and some of the fight sequences. But I really think that just Vin's not the best when it comes to dialogue. I think he's a mumbler. There's not a lot of heart behind what he has to say. There's some cheesy ass lines in here. And I think maybe the talent was in the hair follicles, and now that's gone. So no more talent. Okay. I don't know. I get where you're coming from, and I'm glad you see it, but I just don't see it.
All right. I'll give you, because Vin Diesel is not. I'm not gonna say he's the world's greatest fucking actor out there by any stretch of the means. But a lot of the stuff that you point out is, I think, why I like it. For the type of character that Riddick is, I think it works very well in his favor, because there's a lot of mystery about this. Like, the movie does a really smart job of making you think, like, is he really the bad guy? Or is he actually the good guy? Because I know the movie plays around with that idea a lot throughout it, between him and our actor that I can't wait to gush about, because I'm watching his show currently.
This reminded me a lot, this viewing, because I've seen a lot since, my previous viewing. It's reminded me a lot of John Carpenter's Ghosts of Mars. Which, yeah, remember that?
Yeah, except you have to admit, this is better.
Yeah.
Are you serious right now? I was about to say, are you serious right now?
What, you don't like Desolation Williams and the like third or fourth blonde actress John Carpenter tried to sleep with?
The fact that Statham randomly pops up in a very early career role,
and fucking Pam Grier, and like versus like Martian Spirits, and it's basically the third Snake Plissken movie without Kurt Russell.
Yeah, it's funny. I've seen that movie more than once, actually. The initial watch, and then someone gave it to me on DVD back when, like, it was actually when Blockbusters were closing and people were just freely buying them and giving away DVDs. I ended up with a copy of Ghostbusters. I was like, I don't want it. I was like, okay. And I was like, it's been a while since I watched it. I'll get a rewatch. And I did. And I was there going, nope, it's still terrible. I still don't like this movie.
As much as I do love Carpenter, like, that's primo real estate for the other show.
Oh, it is. It is
prime. Anyone who's been hearing all of our dropped hints is going to figure out what the fuck this show's about.
I feel like you should, because there's certain types of movies we've been constantly alluding to.
Yeah, come on. Yeah, my uncle, biggest Carpenter fan in the world, has all of his films, and yeah, he's got Ghosts of Mars, and he showed it to me, and I was like, "Is this the same guy who did The Thing and Escape from New York? Like, are you sure? Is there another like John Carpenter without the H who's in Hollywood, did a couple films in the 90s?"
And the 2000s, don't forget The Ward.
Oh God. Oh, that was. I was convinced that was not John Carpenter. Like, that had to have been somebody else. That movie was shit. Oh my God.
That was his last film, I believe.
Yeah, he's had production, like producer credit since then, but he's never gotten behind the camera again. which is a damn shame. I guess Amber Heard wouldn't sleep with him, so he's like, "Fuck this! I'm not doing this anymore."
You know what? It's a good thing on that one, based off what we know what's going on with that whole case. Thank you, John Carpenter. Holy shit! Don't.
Like I love John Carpenter's work. I'm not trying to disparage him, but sometime after like They Live, something like shit went downhill.
The whole. I think that had a lot to do with his whole like stance on Hollywood and how he was treated and how he felt. I think it had a lot to do with those movies.
Yeah, but you can, be a rebel and still deliver quality entertainment. When we see that with like, George Romero and Sam Raimi and like people who just, yeah.
I'm with you. I'm just saying like that's probably what happened, but I'm with you. I'm on your side.
I know. It's just disappointing because he's like, in his early career, he's one of the most accomplished, badass indie filmmakers of all time. And then somewhere along the line, all that went away. It's so sad.
Yeah, it's sad though. Like based off like going on the acting side of like Nicolas Cage, like even if he had done like a Nicolas Cage and gotten it back, people probably won't give a shit. I see it with Cage. People still talk about how he's a terror actor. I'm like, you clearly haven't been watching any of his indie stuff recently.
Yeah,
and even then, his bad stuff, he's not terrible. He tries. He commits. So
yeah, he makes that shit interesting.
Yeah. So even if Carpenter had like a comeback, I feel like people would still, minus the horror community. The horror community is very forgiving. The horror community is actually the only community that seems to acknowledge that Nicolas Cage is thinking of Nicolas Cage again, is a good actor and having a hell of a time in the indie scene.
Want to hear something crazy? I've heard that there's some early awards buzz surrounding Pig.
Yes.
Like there's a decent chance that might end up as a dark horse candidate. He might actually get another Oscar nomination.
Yes. Yes.
Now that would propel him back into mainstream Hollywood, and then he'd be able to play both sides.
Oh my God. What if like the rumors like half true, half false? Like he is getting nominated, but it's actually for Prisoner of the Ghostland.
That would be fucking sweet. That's coming up. It's gonna be a fucking crazy episode on Sneak Preview.
So excited for that movie.
Yeah. Oh boy, love these guys who get. I love a second chance. I love a redemption story, and Nick Cage is on his way, and that's great.
Yeah, and technically, to me, John Carpenter is getting it. I mean, no, he's not directing these new set Halloween films, but the fact that the script was he liked enough to come back and play a major role in like the score and producing it and stuff, and it's become this huge success. People cannot wait for Halloween Kills to the point that Venom finally flinched and moved. Like he's having his own comeback in his own way, which is nice.
When I think, he recently came out and started talking about another Snake Plissken movie again, which is pretty sweet. So maybe he's gotten a little bit more, maybe his heart grew 3 sizes. Maybe he's got a little bit more interest.
Yeah, maybe he's seeing like how these smaller companies like Blumhouse that have been able to bring like a small company mentality to major mainstream Hollywood. And he's looking at them like, maybe I can work with them and actually make a movie I want and get, the respect I need and what I need to get a movie made. Because someone like Blumhouse would definitely want to be like, oh my God, yeah, we will do whatever you want, John Carpenter.
Well, that's the cool thing. Like the current, our generation of producers and directors and stuff, they recognize and respect John Carpenter. Like, because they grew up with, Escape from New York, The Thing, The Fog, Halloween, these incredible, groundbreaking films. And just a chance to be a part of one of his productions is like salivating. So, I love that. I hope that happens.
Yeah. I mean, you look at the way how like they talked about when they were like, I think they weren't going to go ahead with the new Halloween film until he read that script. I think if I read correctly, they were waiting to get his approval. They wanted his approval so bad on that new movie.
To get that blessing, to be like, the guy who created Michael Myers is like, go ahead. I like this.
Yeah. Not only that, but like it so much, he's like, can I be involved with this movie? Like, holy shit.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure that helped, Jamie Lee Curtis like want to come back and like really helped round this production. Carpenter just having his hands in it made it like really up the possibilities of this being great. And it was.
It did. Actually, I think it did. I think they said that once they got him, getting other people was easy.
Yeah.
They saw like, oh, John Carpenter's coming back to it. So
That was a fun tangent. Moving on to the cast, we've got Radha Mitchell as Carolyn, acting captain. She's been in Man on Fire, Silent Hill, Olympus Has Fallen, Sacrifice, The Crazies, and Finding Neverland, among others. But it's like a whole bunch of like hardcore action and horror films, and then Finding Neverland.
Yeah. I'll say I know her for her horror films and the action films I've seen her in.
She played Johnny Depp, J.M. Barrie, his really mean, hurtful wife, who was like, how dare you want to help this family who just lost their father? Why aren't you paying attention to me? It was an emotional film. It made me cry. It was very good.
Oh, okay. I saw it once on TV like years ago and I haven't seen it since. I like her in this movie, but I like Radha Mitchell. Like I've always liked her in what I've seen her in. I think she does really good here. And she actually does play against Vin Diesel really well, surprisingly.
Well, yeah, but I know I'm really putting Vin Diesel down here, but I mean, to me, that's like, playing tennis against the brick wall.
Look, I get it.
You're always going to win.
Look, I get it. I'm trying to stay positive for this movie, at least.
I know. And I am really kind of just being the asshole here, and I'm having a good time.
God, I hope you pick a movie I fucking despise. I'm going to be the asshole.
It'll happen one day. Of course, I'm not going to take it as seriously as you apparently have.
Just this movie. Just the circumstances surrounding this one.
Have you ever seen Sacrifice?
No.
That is one of her horror films that I have actually checked out. It was on Netflix. It might still be there. She's it's been a long time. She's I think she's pregnant, or she's trying to get pregnant, and she moves to Scotland, and there's like a druid magic cult trying to get her baby or something. It wasn't bad.
Okay. Like I said, I usually like her when she does horror. I like the Crazies remake a lot that she was in.
Yeah.
I actually like the first Silent Hill movie. As weird and out there as it gets, I like it, and she's really good in it. So I usually like her when she pops up.
I never played Silent Hill, so I never saw the movie.
The movie is honestly not bad. I think you might dig it, but I don't know.
I know like Pyramid Head. That's all I got with Silent Hill.
I mean, in all fairness, you really don't have to play the game to get the movie.
I know that, but back in the day, I had a rule of like, if I haven't played the game, I'm not going to like the movie. I've gotten over that now, but I just never got around it.
I've never been that way just because gaming is such a fucking undertaking to get when it comes to like the adaptations.
Well, I know that now, but as a kid, I'm like, fuck it. I don't want to do that. But I would do, if Silent Hill makes its way to the show, I'm not going to say like, well, let me play all the Silent Hill games first. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah. You really can't do that because apparently the company is just dead set on never bringing that franchise back.
It makes no sense, isn't it? Like it's a profitable fan favorite franchise. Like, yeah. Why wouldn't you want to bring that back?
I don't understand because a lot of people got excited when the whole like PT demo came out. Like that was going everywhere, and it was like Norman Reedus, Del Toro, and Kojima, the guy who does Metal Gear, that has like a humongous fucking following behind him, all came together to basically make a Silent Hill game. So it's gonna be like this like really fucking epic game. They did the PT playable teaser, came out, took the world by storm, but then Kojima had was developing issues with Konami. It was not getting good between the two, him and the company. Mm-hmm. He left, and when he left, they shut down it, and Konami has yet to even try to bring that fucking series back. And yeah, it's weird because you look at like Resident Evil, right? It had a huge resurgence with 7. And now it's like riding high again. I mean, the games are going strong. There's like 2 or 3 different fucking adaptations coming out. I saw the photos they released for the upcoming movie. Like it's going strong. So you think like if Resident Evil can have a comeback, Silent Hill would definitely have one because it has just as strong of a following, but it's just handled by a shitty company.
I hate when that happens. I hate when, good shit is locked away by greedy ass companies.
Yeah,
it's annoying, and nobody wins. Like they're not making any money off it. We don't get any content. So like, what's the fucking point?
Yeah, I don't understand why they're acting like that, but that's just the current state of it.
Well, as I often say, them's the bricks.
Yeah.
Cole Hauser plays Johns, the asshole, like who is trying so aggressively hard to be just a super prick the entire movie. He's been in Too Fast, Too Furious, which I thought was hilarious, Dazed and Confused, Good Will Hunting, Tears of the Sun, and the Western series Yellowstone.
Which is what I've been recently watching. I fucking love Cole Hauser in this movie. I don't think he's trying hard at all. I think he's always been a reliable actor to me in what I've seen him in. He's never one to ham it up. He always does a good job. And I like him in this movie. I like how talking about when they talk about like the movie smartly kind of switches the roles of good and bad guy. That's what I'm talking about, like Riddick and Johns. Because when the movie starts, you're thinking, oh, Riddick's the bad guy. He's chained up. Everyone's fucking terrified of him. So that's another thing I like the mystique around his character. I'm big into when they do the movie finds a way to give a mystique around your character. And they do that here when everyone's like fucking shitting their pants that he got out. And so you think, okay, he's the bad guy. And then John's clearly a good guy. He has on the vest, so you're thinking, oh, he's a cop or something. But as the movie plays out, you start to realize that Riddick's actually the good guy and the one you want on your side. And John's does some shady shit because at the end of the day, he's a mercenary. He just cares about the money. He doesn't give a shit about those people. He wants his payday.
Yeah. And I agree it's a good performance. I think just the character's so fucking despicable. It's hard to back up. But I understand. Yeah.
He's despicable, and again, it makes sense when they start to flip it because you start to really like Riddick more than you do him.
True.
So, and Cole Hauser's just good at that. In Yellowstone, he plays a really hardened like cowboy. He works on the ranch, isn't afraid to get his hands dirty, and he excels in that role. I actually didn't recognize him at first because here he is like short hair, he's clean shaven, very skinny, and that he's not bad, but he's gaining a little bit of weight. He has like a big old beard. His hair is a little bit longer. Like I couldn't tell it was fucking Cole Hauser at first until the name popped up. My friend was like, Cole Hauser's in this. And then when I heard the voice, I was like, holy shit, it's him. Yeah, he's like he plays Kevin Costner's like right hand man.
Right on. Yeah. Yellowstone I've had a few people recommend Yellowstone to me, mostly you. Maybe I'll check it out.
I like it a lot. The fourth season is supposed to be coming out in November. A little delay because COVID, but it's coming.
With the recent surprise, shocking passing of Michael Kenneth Williams, I'm considering finally tackling The Wire.
Ooh, that would be good. Yeah, I was shocked by that. I won't lie. Because Austin only sent Michael K, I was like, who? Like, I didn't know.
I knew that he really liked that actor, so I was like, oh shit. But I was also like, really like, oh please God, don't let it be Michael Keaton.
That's what I thought. I'm like, Austin, hey, I love you, buddy, but if you're going to tell me someone died, please use the whole actor's name initially in the text, just so I don't get confused. Because I was sitting there like, Michael K. I was like, do not tell me Michael Keaton. That's the first thing I typed. I was like, well, he didn't die. I was like, what Michael K. is he talking about?
Yeah, IMDb didn't have it immediately. I went to Facebook News. They usually pretty quick. I was like, God damn it. I mean, we'll talk. Obviously, we'll go more into this on Monday's sneak preview. But what a fucking loss. And I think it was there has not yet been a cause of death announced. And usually when that's the case, I'm not saying it is this time, but when there's not a cause of death announced, half the time it's drugs.
I read that apparently they found drug paraphernalia in the apartment he was found in.
Yeah, he had a known problem. Fuck.
Yeah.
I hate when talent dies.
Yeah, that was sad. And I watched Lovecraft Country this year. So I like very fresh. He's really, really fucking good in that show.
To me, Chalky White, Boardwalk Empire. Like, God damn. Just, yeah, I'll leave it, but
5-time Emmy nominated actor.
Mm-hmm. Fucking terrible loss.
Yeah.
Finally, the last cast member I want to talk about is Keith David, who plays Imam, the Muslim guy who whole character is I'm a Muslim. And it was 2000. It could have been worse. He's been in.
You're giving them shit for a movie that came out in 2000, and this could have been far, far worse.
Yeah, admittedly. All right, fine. He's been in The Thing, They Live. It's funny, we were talking about Carpenter earlier. The Princess and the Frog, The Nice Guys, and a shit ton of voice work, including the president on Rick and Morty, which is probably my favorite performance of his. It's this constant pissing contest between Rick and the president. I love it.
Oh yeah, he's fucking great in that show. God, I can't wait to watch the season finale after this. But yeah, actually, this was my intro to him. I had seen this like first before I had seen like Halloween and They Live and The Thing and all that stuff. So I was like, oh, this guy's cool. I just recognized his voice, and then when I saw that stuff, I was like, I recognize this voice. So yeah, it was actually my introduction to Keith David was Pitch Black.
Nice. Mine was The Thing. I saw that movie really early on when I've talked about it on the show when I was not supposed to be watching that kind of shit, but my parents were like, it's old. It's probably not that bad. And then it got bad. And instead of turning it off or telling me to leave, they just covered my eyes, and I still heard all that horrific shit. So it didn't help. Good movie. Favorite of mine. Pitch Black has an IMDb score of 7.1, Rotten Tomatoes score of 60%, grossed $53 million on a budget of $23 million, spawned 2 sequels, an animated spin-off film, and 2 video games, which is kind of fucking crazy. There is a 4th sequel that is in perpetual production hell.
Mainly thanks to Vin Diesel.
Yeah. How pissed would you be if they recasted it and like gave it to Dwayne Johnson?
Actually, I think I'd be pissed because I don't think he could do this.
I feel like if they did that, I feel like Vin Diesel would literally kill him. Like he would snap and he would kill Dwayne Johnson if he took this franchise away from him too.
Well, at that point, my words I like to say to Vin Diesel is, and stop just making only Fast and Furious movies and make this 4th movie. It's like the reason it's in development hell is because of him. The script is written. The studio gave him the go ahead. It's literally the actor, which I've never fucking heard of in my goddamn life. Usually, when everything's aligning for the actor to get paid, they're quick to fit that goddamn movie in their schedule.
And also, what fucking schedule? All he's doing is Fast and Furious and Groot.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is the thing. They're not even filming Guardians yet or Fast because both don't come out to 2023. So they're not filming till next year.
And I feel like he can do Groot in a weekend.
Yeah, he could. I don't understand. Like, I'm sorry. Again, I stand by it. When it comes to animated characters James Gunn's done, I'm throwing my ring in on King Shark. Because
Groot's great, but King Shark is fucking adorable. Yes.
And Stallone clearly was actually trying in his voice performance.
Yeah.
I felt it.
I felt it big time. Yeah. The Suicide Squad is one of my favorite films of the year by far.
Oh, yeah.
And that's been tough because I've seen about 80 of this year's releases, and there's been about 10 good ones.
Yeah, it's been a hit and miss year.
Yeah. So let's talk highlights of Pitch Black. I'm going to be totally honest here. I don't have any notes. So I'm pretty much relying on you to just gush, and I will react to it.
Son of a bitch. Oh God! Before I talk about scenes, one thing I do want to mention is that personally, I actually really like the cinematography and the oversaturation in colors David Tooher utilizes in this movie.
Yeah,
to disorient you on the planet, like it works in making you feel like the characters and going, "What the hell is going on with this planet? And what the hell is all these creatures?" I like that a lot.
Yeah, I agree. That's the production design is pretty impressive for 2000. I mean, yeah, the visual effects aren't great.
I will give you, that, depending on the lighting, the visual effects work, depending on how they light that scene with the monsters. There were moments, and it's something I've just kind of lived with because I've noticed it as I've seen this multiple times, that depending on how they light it, the visual effects are very apparently not of the highest budget at times.
Well, what I do with films like, when I think of like older films that have kind of splotchy visual effects or CGI, I always try to look like, before I give them the benefit of the doubt, what else came out around that time? And like a year earlier, it was The Matrix. So I'm like, is there really an excuse here?
Well, and I also look at, well, okay, that's fair, but I also say look at budget. Again, this was a low budget movie. This does not have a Matrix level budget, I believe.
$23 million was the budget for Pitch Black. The Matrix budget was $63 million. All right, so admittedly, 40
so they didn't
more.
have the budget. Yeah, so they did what they could, and obviously they filled up with people that weren't super famous. Like I said, you had a younger Vin Diesel. I'd say the biggest talent they probably had was Keith David. Even I can say that. Like, it was probably Keith David, and I don't think he asked for a lot in his salary. So, like I am willing to forgive it because of its very low budget roots and what they were trying to do. Yes, it is noticeable. There are scenes where I'm like, ew, but compared to me what the film accomplishes, I'm willing to forgive those effects.
Yeah, forgiveness. I agree. I did a sign of the cross. I forget this is a audio show sometimes.
I was like, what just happened? As far as like things are, and as far as scenes and stuff, though, a lot of my scenes actually have to do with the Riddick character. Again, kind of going back to that mystique. What I mean by that is like what John Wick did, right? Where like John Wick does such a great job of hyping this character up before you see Keanu Reeves become John Wick.
True.
And I feel like this movie did the same thing with Riddick. There's a lot of hype of who Riddick is. What is this person? From the opening narration of what he's saying to like when he's in the chains and he breaks his fucking arms to get out. Like scenes like that when he's fighting Jaws and he quickly fixes his arm that got completely broken. Like there's a lot of really cool build of like, this guy is dangerous. Like he will fuck you up if you're on the wrong end of on the wrong side of it with them.
I didn't include this in my Filmgazm facts, but I did read in the trivia that that was not CGI. Vin Diesel really did dislocate his arms.
Oh,
yeah, I mean they fudged it a little bit, but most of that is him.
Holy shit!
Yeah, so
that's what I'm talking about. Where's that Vin Diesel? Because again, that scene to me stands out. I still watch that scene going, Jesus fucking Christ! Like to be able to like dislocate your arms like that to escape without really screaming. Oh,
yeah. Well, maybe he was so dedicated at the time. Then he's like, I had to break my fucking arms for that. I don't want to do that shit again.
That really hurt.
I don't want to do that if I don't have to. I don't know. Yeah, it was impressive a bit. Yeah, I do think the beginning, when you're kind of unsure about who here is a hero, who here is a villain, was this sabotage? We don't know. And yeah, the way they play up Riddick as like this boogeyman is interesting. I love when he's just, kind of looking around at the beginning. Like when he's in the dude's lawn chair on top of the lookout.
I laughed so hard in that scene. It's just like, I thought it was him. And it just zooms in. He's just shrinking at the shrink.
There's a scene where they're panning through like some wreckage and he's in the foreground blurred out, but you can see him as they're panning. You just see like a bald head and two black goggles and you're like, fuck, Riddick. Like he's hiding in the wreckage. It's not even it's not zoomed in or anything. It's only if you can find it.
Yeah. That speaks to how again, building that character up and how you might have to actually be scared of this guy because he's literally hiding in plain sight, but no one sees him. And then there, like the scene when the guy gets attacked by the monsters and Riddick's just standing there watching him, not helping, just watching it happen. And it's like, yeah, we know the monsters attacked, but was Riddick involved still somehow? Because he didn't do anything to help the guy.
Yeah, but entirely because he knew that what the fuck am I going to do? He's dead already. Like, why bother involving myself? Because I'll just, I'll die too.
Yeah. And that's another aspect of the character I liked a lot in this movie was that, again, Vin Diesel trying in his performance, when we were finally really introduced and he starts talking himself. And you start to realize another reason people are so scared of him is because he's fucking smart. He knows every move they're going to do, and he's 2, 3, 4 steps ahead. One of my other favorite scenes is when John talks about he's going to renege on the deal and leave Riddick out to die. And then he confronts her, Roderick Mitchell's character, in the ship and says everything that was just said between them. And basically his way of saying, I know what you're going to do because I would do it. But just know that I know.
Yeah, that's pretty badass. I think it's just a big sticking point for me is how long it takes for shit to get started. Like a good half hour to 40 minutes before things like before the real like meat of the story really takes off. And I feel like that could have been trimmed.
Okay. I get what you're saying. For me, I was so in love with like the technical aspect of it and the building up of the character. I'm able to forgive it.
Yeah.
But to me, by the time they got to that point, I was like all in. You know what I mean? Like for me, it was a good build up of like getting immersed, getting into it, and going, all right, I'm all in. I'm all in. What goes down next?
I am fully aware I'm not changing your mind on shit. It's, this is a favorite of yours, and I get it's tough when someone's poking holes in one of your favorite movies. We'll get there eventually on the, when you get to do it to me. It'll happen.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Yeah. What else you got?
Another thing I liked, you already mentioned that line, the Richard B. Riddick escaped. That scene always makes me laugh when the guy tells him his name. He's like, Richard B. Riddick, escaped convict, murderer. He just drinks his drink in front of him.
Just downs his super expensive Shiraz.
Yeah.
Like, you could have some, sure.
Sure. Yeah. Like we're going to tell the guy that's been hyped up as this fucking huge murderer. Or like I love the interplay between him and Cole Hauser. The constant digs they make at each other. Like when he's shaving his head and he's like, I thought I told you no weapons. It's not, it's a personal grooming device. Just the constant fucking digs they're making at each other to the point when he like kills him finally. And Riddick's like slinking off into the back, into the dark, and taunting the guy as he's dying.
Yeah, that was cool. That like it was all building up to that fight when they're both talking about, we got to use like you. I love the Hauser just like you kill the girl and I'll hold the rest of them back. And he's like, well, maybe we need bigger bait. And they just look at each other like for a second, and the knives come out. But what a shit! Just willing to, He's very much an opportunist, mercenary son of a bitch.
Yeah, and to me, like that scene really puts the final nail on the flipping of who's the bad guy, who's the good guy.
Yeah,
because here you have the mercenary supposed to be good, willing to sacrifice the person they just found out it's a female. Which I will agree. Watching the movie more and more, I don't understand how they didn't know that chick was a gore. That was not a man voice at all.
Well, actually, I was talking to I watched this with my mom because I needed the TV, but she was just there and like, why are we watching this? I'm like, because I have a podcast. God damn it. Anyway, that character kept coming back, and we looked at each other like, what's their gender? But then we were like, can we say that? Like, can we ask that now? Like, that would never happen now because the uproar would be fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, granted, to me, it makes for a good purr in the movie. Like when they're like, oh, but no one's cutting, and goes, I ain't talking about her. I'm talking about her. Like Riddick was the only one that knew and just kept his mouth shut. Riddick is 2021 ready, basically.
But ultimately, that didn't really lead to much. I mean, other than like just there's blood in the water now.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it doesn't lead to much. That's why I said like that part is kind of weird. But yeah, going back to that fight, like, John is so willing to just say, fuck it, sacrifice his gore. And you see in Riddick, he's been hyped up as this fucking cold-blooded killer, will do anything he needs to do, have a moment of humanity and go, I'm not killing a gore. I'm not killing a kid.
Wasn't it revealed in the sequels or like Chronicles or something that he was like, the reason he was in prison was for like heroic reasons?
Yeah, because the sequel tried pulling the whole, like, he's the last of his race and all that stuff. He's part of a prophecy. So there's a lot of...
This got turned into Gothic Star Wars, and it did not work.
Yeah, that's why I liked a little bit of backstory. Like, if you excise what you know about the character in the sequels, or really Chronicles, because luckily the third one smartly just uses pitch black to keep going. what we get here, I like a lot. Like all we know is that this guy's dangerous. He has the cool eye shine, which I remember being a kid when I first saw this and actually being like, dude, I want that. I thought the eye thing was so fucking cool.
Yeah, I'd love to see in the dark. It's weird how in this one he's, he had a back alley doctor like fuck him up in prison, but in the second one he's actually like the last of a race of people who can see in the dark.
Yeah, and it's amazing. That's why I say like I like the hype of this character in this movie because he's just that bad of a guy. He's just someone you don't want to fuck with because he's that smart, he's that tough that you just don't want to fuck with him. And then we throw it all away in the sequel.
I read in the trivia that the first like time they used the contact lenses on Vin Diesel, when they yelled cut, they wouldn't come off. And they had to call in an optometrist to very carefully take these contact lenses off of Vin Diesel. And they filmed this thing in like the fucking outback, so it took a while.
Right? This is why Vin Diesel's just been fucking...
Yeah. None of this shit happens on Fast and Furious. He just gets in a car, does some green screen work, and goes home with $900 million.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I guess now we're getting to the bottom of why he doesn't try anymore.
Injuries. Lots of them.
On his first big role. Oh, you know what? Going back on the technical side, something I really enjoyed, and I to this day love this scene. The snobby Ryan dude's death. That is a beautiful fucking shot scene.
I was going to bring that up. That's the one part of here where I was like, fuck, that was good. And yeah, when he just like, there's a brief bit of light and it's just like, he's in a sea of these fuckers. That was cool. I'm like, oh, that's going to hurt.
Yeah, he's done. He's fucked up.
Yeah, that was impressive. I'll give you that for sure.
Yeah. I was like, if anything, you gotta give this movie points on technical. It's a technically fucking awesome movie.
True, for the most part.
Yeah. Obviously budget showing in the creatures at times aside.
I think it was weird when Riddick just suddenly pulls out a knife and like fucking one-on-one combats one of these creatures. And that was so weird when he just like carves this thing up and it's like, didn't know who it was fucking with. Like, not the time for quips. Like, you're in danger.
I mean, I liked it.
I know. I thought it was goofy. And I think I said this before we were recording. I might have said this at the beginning of the show. I don't remember. It all bleeds. Blade did it better.
Okay, I'll give you that, but I still like it here.
I know. I'm not taking anything away from you. I'm just saying Blade did it better, in my opinion. Blade would kick Riddick's ass 5 ways to Sunday.
Maybe. Riddick would probably know where he's at all times, so.
I think that's an interesting matchup, though. The Daywalker versus the guy who can see in the dark.
Yeah, because, the whole point of the Daywalker is that he can the whole point of the Daywalker is that he can fight things at night or during the day. So yeah, that would be interesting.
It would. Anyway. Yeah, I just thought that was weird.
Quick side note, I'm paying attention, but my computer is attempting an update.
Oh yeah, I fucking hate when that happens. That has happened during episodes before where I get hey, computer updating in 3, 2, and I'm like, no. I gotta stop that shit before we lose everything.
Yeah, I'm sitting here like, don't you fucking update? Don't you do it?
But yeah, it was just an odd moment where he's like, oh, so you could fight these fuckers this whole time, but now you're choosing to go after this thing with a knife. Like, I don't know.
Well, I mean, also think about how many there were. Like, he was able to get one-on-one. And as we see later in the movie, you get more of them. That's when it starts to get dangerous.
Why didn't this thing just headbutt him? They've got razor heads that they've been using to kill everybody this whole time. Why didn't
remember, he knew how to follow it. So then they can't see.
No, I mean earlier. That's not the one he killed with the knife. Earlier, where he like catches his arms and like starts fighting it. That fucker
He was keeping it at bay. That's why.
But how could he do that?
Look, you're asking for too much.
I'm asking for basic logic. God damn it. Okay, fine. You can have that one.
Well, I did like the twist, and this is a spoiler, but if you're listening to this, I'm hoping you've seen the movie.
Movie's 21 years old. It's not our fault.
Yeah, I like the somewhat twist at the end where they kill off Rada and Mitchell, because I remember watching that the first time thinking, okay, she's obviously gonna make it. She's the main character, and she does not.
Yeah, that was entirely on her. Like, but she did do the right thing, and that was the whole point. Like, yeah, she could have gone with Riddick, but would she been able to live with herself? No.
Yeah, I know it gets the point across about hammering it in the head for me, because you have that moment where Riddick, you actually see some of the criminal side Riddick creep in, where he's like, I will leave you. I don't give a shit. I'm here. I'll leave. I'll be safe. And then she finally convinces him when she's like, I would die for them. He goes, all right, then let's go get them. You gave him that little bit of candy. And then when I did like the line when she gets grabbed and he's like going, not for me. I love that line when he's like, not for me. Because you can tell Riddick hasn't experienced this before. He's not the person you sacrifice your life for.
And he's not a hero. Yeah. He's very much like a Snake Plissken kind of anti-hero guy who's here because he has to be, but learned something along the way about himself. And those are always interesting characters.
Yeah, which again kind of gets ruined in the sequel, comes back around the third movie, luckily. But in there, to me, it really worked and really helps kind of hammer home the last bit of character development you get in the movie, since it's the end. Because you see that Riddick did change a little bit, because then you have that scene at the end when they're like, are we going to leave? And he's like, wait. And he fucking lights them up because he's so pissed.
Yeah. Dick Riddick has a heart. Dick Bruno Riddick has a heart.
It's killed me that Bruno. Jesus Christ.
I wish I was kidding, but it really fucking is Bruno. Yeah. Anything else you wanted to spotlight?
That's all I got for now with this movie. Is there anything remotely you like that you want to add, or good to go?
This is the least amount of work I've ever put into one of these. I'm not gonna lie.
I fucking hate you right now.
But yeah, there were, like we said, the one wine guy, his death was very well done. It looked like a painting. There's some character development moments. The fight with Johns, it just takes for fucking ever to start. And ultimately, I think a lot of the characters are expendable, don't really have a lot of development behind them for me to care about their deaths. And yeah, I just don't think this is one I'll be going back to. Sorry.
God damn it.
Here are 2 Filmgazm facts. This one's cool. Number 1, the film developed from David Tui's unused idea for Alien 3 involving a space prison. So he pitched an Alien 3 idea, which they then turned down, which he then reworked into Pitch Black.
So we got Pitch Black because the studio didn't like his Alien 3 pitch?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's awesome.
But imagine, I think this idea with Alien would have fucking been amazing.
It probably, yeah, I agree. It would have, because I was been saying this whole time about how he builds up Riddick. Can you imagine applying that to Ripley?
Ooh, my God.
Films about knowing who Ripley is.
Yeah, that would have been really cool.
Yeah, he probably would have had her be like, I feel like we would have achieved total badass of Ripley at that point, even more than what Cameron gave us.
Yeah. I mean, imagine, Ripley and Newt and Hicks are picked up by, some they're picked up as like fugitives. Maybe that, nobody seems to think these aliens are real. So maybe they're charged with killing the entire colony. They get arrested. Ripley is transported to the prison. There's a queen on the ship or something. And she warns them like, hey, let me out. You're going to be sorry. And that would rock. I wish we'd gotten that movie.
Yeah, and especially certain lines that I really like outside of the whole "you don't know who you're fucking with," which actually would have applied really well for Ripley in Alien 3. Other lines that I really like that could have like applied really well. Things like when he's one of my favorite. They used in the sequel, it doesn't work as well, but when he's like he says in all three movies actually, he's like, "You're not afraid of the dark, are you?" When it starts to like get dark, probably would have applied really well in Alien 3.
The scene with
actually a lot of
with the French guy's death, but surrounded by fucking xenomorphs.
Oh my god.
Ooh boy. As much as I don't care for Alien Resurrection, to me, the biggest crime against the Alien franchise has been Alien 3. And
yeah,
when I think of all the possibilities of epic movies we were supposed to get and what ended up getting settled on, I just get pissed off.
Yeah, just hearing how like they locked Fincher out of the editing room to do their movie, and I'm like, oh my god. Because Resurrection, it's bad, but goddamn, is it something to watch bad? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we've done the first two Alien movies as well as Alien versus Predator on this podcast. We've yet to do 3, 4, Prometheus, or Covenant. But rest assured, it will happen eventually.
God, you think Johns would have been Hicks? You think he was written originally as Hicks? Because Michael Biehn had a drug problem.
Well, what if, like, in this universe, let's say Hicks and Newt still died, Ripley crash lands, is picked up by a transport place to go to prison or something. What if Johns is like Hicks' brother, who like is like, you killed my brother, and I'm going to make sure you suffer for it, and then finds out what really happened and teams up with Ripley to fuck up these aliens?
That would work too, because based off Riddick, the third Riddick movie, totally, you brought in Johns' dad, Big Johns, who gave me so much hope for a really good fucking Ra's al Ghul.
Is his name really Big Johns?
I think that's what they put it in, like the character listing, but I don't think he's actually. Let me find out. I think I remember reading it as Big Johns and going, "What the fuck?" Granted, I ended up liking the movie enough to not worry about it, but nonetheless.
I'm going to IMDb right now to find this out because that's fucking. What now?
Boss Johns.
Boss Johns. That's still stupid, but I'll take it.
Well, it's in parentheses, so it's like that was his nickname.
Weird nickname. And yeah, Matt Nable. Yeah, I'll never forgive Arrow for giving us a schlubby Ra's al Ghul. I was really down for it because I had seen Riddick, and I was like, oh, dude, he's gonna be good because he was fucking built for Riddick, and I don't know what happened when he got that role. You're going to be the most feared assassin in all of mankind's history. I'm not asking for rock hard abs, but a little effort. Number 2, the original ending had Riddick being killed by one of the creatures instead of Carolyn. And this was changed to allow possible sequels, since Universal didn't believe the Carolyn character would be as popular as the Riddick character. Yeah. I mean, you've got the criminal who has a heart of gold, can see in the dark, and is fighting alien creatures one-on-one versus Rhoda Mitchell. I mean, yeah, I think we all know who's getting the franchise here.
Yeah, that's a case of the studio was correct in that.
Yeah.
I probably would have done the same thing if I was a producer. Like, you might want to have him survive.
Although, if this had been a standalone film, that would have been one hell of an ending.
Right? You just kill the most feared fucking criminal.
Just unceremoniously.
Alive than dead.
Yeah.
I always forget about that. I'm like, can you imagine? Like, usually dead is supposed to be worth more. You're that feared. But they're like, no, we want him alive.
The first sequel is 2004's The Chronicles of Riddick. which sees Riddick going up against an invading empire of dark warriors called Necromongers. Carl Urban, Judi Dench, Thandie Newton, and Colm Fiore joined the cast. It received pretty mixed reviews. Somehow did not kill the franchise. But yeah, they went way too big, way too fast. Tried to turn this into some like epic Star Wars-esque franchise. And everyone was like, what the fuck happened to this?
Yeah, and they made it PG-13, and the Pitch Black movie is rated R. It's gory, they cuss, all that good stuff, and yeah, they took that away in the PG-13. Even the unrated cut, because I own the unrated cut, they only use one F-bomb, and it's that scene when they're capturing him, the mercs capture him at the beginning of the movie, but he's like on the ship and he has a long beard, and he's like, it's something dumb too. He's like, first you tried fucking with me when I was being left alone, or something like that. It doesn't really work. It's one F-bomb that just sucks.
I don't remember a single moment of the Chronicles of Riddick. That was one of the most forgettable films I've ever seen in my life.
I've seen it multiple times.
I'm probably, knowing this podcast, knowing who I co-hosted with, I will fucking be going back to the Riddick franchise at some point. I know that. So I best be prepared to go back to Chronicles. Maybe I'll understand it better this time. I don't know, but it's so ridiculously convoluted and full of so much backstory. That's just, it's less is always more. That's why Pitch Black and Riddick were so much better received, because it was a simple premise that built, was people could wrap their heads around it.
Yeah, it's people like Pitch Black because it was a very simple movie. I admit it in the end of the day. But yeah, like Chronicles, like I remember as a kid, I liked it when I was a kid, and as I got older, I was like, no, this isn't really that good. And it's because it does exactly what you say. Like, it gets way too convoluted. They drop a shit ton of tropes and cliches on the Riddick character about him being the last of his race and he's part of this prophecy and all that bullshit.
Yeah, the fucking chosen one.
Yeah, and they neuter the rating after it's they get more people into it. So, and it's not, one of the things that I like about this Pitch Black is the meld of sci-fi and horror, whereas the sequel is sci-fi and action, and we have enough of those. I've seen plenty of sci-fi action movies. Star Wars, Star Trek have that down pat.
Yeah, anybody who tries to emulate that always fucks up. Isn't that interesting? Like, Star Wars has their thing, Star Trek has their thing, but then every other thing is like a fucking disaster.
Yeah.
It's always a Chronicles of Riddick or a Jupiter Ascending or a Valerian in the City of 1,000 Planets, or just, it's always like, who cares? The only one that I thought worked was The Fifth Element.
Yeah, that one worked. I think most people thought that worked too. I think that's pretty loved film.
Yeah, it was supposed to be like 3 movies, but they just crammed it all into one, and I thought that was smart. It's a good standalone sci-fi adventure that just is a fun movie.
Yeah.
Next up was the 2004 animated short, The Chronicles of Riddick: Dark Fury. It was direct to DVD and connects Pitch Black to The Chronicles of Riddick. Have you seen Dark Fury?
I have. I've seen it once, actually. I forgot how. I somehow got a copy. I was borrowing someone's copy that had it. And I saw it. I remember as a kid, it didn't really land on me. It's only like 35 minutes. It's not long. But looking back, I want to rewatch it because I felt like I'd like it more, because it at least really attempts to explain why 2 of the characters that he leaves the planet with are magically gone in the sequel. So it does help bridge the gap with that. And it does start to introduce that stuff that we were complaining about with Chronicles and who Riddick is and all that shit. But it's not bad. It's a nice little 30, 35, 40 minute thing to watch.
Right on. I won't. Finally.
Let's make it homework for Chronicles.
Oh my God. All right. So we got 2013's Riddick, which sees Riddick marooned on a desolate planet, fighting a race of predatory creatures alongside a band of mercenaries who are there to capture him. Good return to form. Decent. Again, for me at least, forgettable. It's been a long time. But I'm sorry. I just don't have the investment in these movies that you do.
I okay. Well, I also like this movie. After how the fact that Chronicles didn't kill this franchise, I remember when they announced this, and I was like, "Holy shit, Riddick's coming back! We're getting a new Riddick." And I was in college. I remember seeing the preview and getting so excited for college. I was broke, so I didn't get to see it in theaters, unfortunately, but I did rent it off of Netflix. And I remember just being so enthralled. I hear, the complaint of it's essentially pitch black, but you know what? Force Awakens was essentially New Hope, and I still like Force Awakens. Sometimes it's good to go back to a basics approach if you fucked up hard enough. And I think in the case of Chronicles, just like in the case of those Star Wars prequels, enough damage had been done that I was like, okay, let's go back to a basic form. And if people get behind this, we'll go from there.
Good point.
Yeah, so I like that they did that, and I was like, let's just get back to what people liked. And to me, it worked. I thought like the gore was good in it. I like the return of sci-fi horror. I like that they did still have that beginning of keeping it Chronicles. Like, hey, we know you don't like it, but it's a part of the canon now. We can't forget this movie, and they found a way to still use that to carry this forward. But then immediately bring in a lot of pitch black stuff too, like we said with Boss Johns having the dad of the person who thinks, Riddick killed his son, and Riddick just antagonizes the shit out of him throughout the movie, which is great.
And Riddick fucking did kill his son.
He did. I love how Riddick just really antagonizes him throughout the movie, though, about it, and how he just keeps talking about how his son was a piece of shit. But and again, seeing Vin Diesel actually try, like actually get into that headspace for the character for that movie was nice. So I really, really enjoyed Riddick to the point that I just want that fourth movie. I could kill us about Fast Furious. After watching the ninth Fast Furious, I don't care about 10.
I want a crossover. Fast and Furious.
I'm surprised he hasn't done some stupid little clever like nod to the character in Fast Furious. You know what I mean? Like some passing reference.
His secret brother, Dominic B. Riddick, shows up in a fucking space Pinto. And I don't know. Honestly, anything could happen now. I don't know. Fast and Furious is so fucking ridiculous. Maybe this is the epic finale Vin Diesel's been teasing. They're going of the fucking Riddick movies.
Merging his franchises together. Somehow Triple X is going to get involved.
This is all one big ass origin story for Richard B. Riddick. Dominic Toretto gets shot into space, gets his eyes all fucked up, and changes his name to Richard B. Riddick. Oh, how pissed off would you be?
Pretty pissed off.
Oh, well, I give Pitch Black a 6. It's got its moments, but I thought it was pretty boring overall, and I just don't see it. Sorry.
I will say I'm glad that 6 is not as bad as I thought you were going to give it. Still quite disappointed in this, but with that said, I still stand by my 10 out of 10. This has been a personal favorite since I saw it as a kid. I don't care what people say. I love this fucking movie. It from the story to the characters. Vin Diesel again, actually acting for once in his damn career. Everything about it I just love, and it will remain a favorite of mine that hopefully I can get more people behind on. Hopefully. Apparently, this is a really small cult following, unlike most cult followings.
I wish you the best of luck in that ongoing struggle. Thanks for listening, everybody. Thanks for all the support to anybody who is consistently checking out our show. We appreciate that big time. If you have any requests, feel free to email us at filmgazm@gmail.com or leave a comment on our Facebook, Instagram, Twitter accounts, as well as YouTube. We are responsive. And we've done fan requests in the past. We'll totally do it again. Next week, we are tackling the random pick from the Book of Filmgazm, our ongoing endless list of potential episodes. You never know what's going to come of a random pick. This time, it's a lesser-known ghost movie from 2014 called Last Shift. A rookie cop spends her first shift alone during the last night of a closing precinct, finds herself dealing with the spirits of a cult that committed suicide in the precinct decades earlier. I actually have seen this one a long time ago, and it'll be fun to revisit it for next week's show. Have you ever gotten to see Last Shift?
I haven't seen this one. I've heard about it a lot. It was kind of one like I've noticed in the horror genre, like I've learned to kind of judge some of the Netflix horror films that come out based off how much I hear about them.
Yeah.
This was one I'm already hearing about a lot. And I just never got around to watching it. But I might watch it, even if I'm not on the episode, I might watch it just to finally see what it's all about.
Well, any of you who want to check this film out as well, it is on Prime Video, as well as free with ads on Vudu and Tubi. So that's where you can check this film out.
No Tubi. I highly support Tubi.
Yeah, it's been pretty helpful. Don't miss the 1976 Scorsese classic Taxi Driver on Oscar Sunday, and James Wan's new horror movie Malignant and Others on Monday's sneak preview. Until then, don't fuck with Richard B. Riddick and keep watching movies.